There are 3 reasons that most of you will likely just end up wasting your money on buying life insurance and or final expense leads from a lead vendor. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing why most leads from vendors are pretty terrible and what you should most likely do if you want decent leads that are exclusive, and we're assuming that you can't generate them on your own. And I'm also going to give some tips on buying leads if you really have no other choice than to deal with a lead vendor. Let's start by giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you're new to the channel. We're putting out new insurance sales content and final expense sales training videos just like this all the time. There's one very important thing that you're definitely gonna wanna find out before you buy leads from any vendor. Is the lead exclusive or not? And before we get into it, guys, stick around till the end of the video. I'm gonna show you how to get the free new agent super file that has scripts and sales materials that you'll definitely want to use as a life insurance and or final expense agent. I'll show you how to get this sucker at the end of the video, so hang around. First off, if the lead vendor is gonna sell you leads that have previously been worked by another agent, I don't care if you're like paying $1 for that lead. It is most likely gonna be a complete waste of your time and money. Oh yeah. And by the way, second, as of January of 2025, coming up from the date of the filming of this video, any lead that is shared will most likely be non-compliant and illegal due to the one-to-one consent law that will be enforced again starting in January of 2025. The short version, this basically means that the client has to check a box stating that it's okay for them to be contacted. They're giving permission for them to be contacted by more than one representative, and the check box actually has to have full disclosure naming the agents and or agencies by name that will be calling the lead. Look guys, nobody in their right mind is gonna check a box like this when they see a list of names because, as you know, nobody wants to say, sure, you are more than welcome to harass the heck out of me by having everybody and their brothers call me like 100 times a day. The second reason you'll want to avoid buying leads from a vendor is the quality versus cost and ROI, return on investment. Remember, no matter what, generating an exclusive lead costs money, whether the quality/intent is high or not. The lead vendor doesn't do this unless they can guarantee that they're gonna make money, right? I mean, that's common sense. That's the only way it's gonna work. And what they don't want is to spend a lot of time and energy creating a high quality, high intent lead so that you can make a huge profit. Meanwhile, they're making like 50 bucks an order. No, look, by the time they mark up the price, that doesn't make sense, okay? So think about it. You know, they generate the lead. Are they gonna do it to make a minimum? No. You're most likely spending, I want to say, at least double the cost of what it actually takes to generate that lead. So in a competitive market like remote final expense sales or life insurance telesales, this becomes a fail. Understand guys, even though you're being sold on some amazing lead and what they're saying is a fair price, it seems fair to me, right? Which makes sense if you can make it work. And here's the thing, you're rarely even coming close to getting an adequate bang for the buck. As I mentioned before, a decent return on investment, it's probably not gonna happen unless you are truly a professional closer. We're talking like a talented super producer. The skill and talent just isn't there for a majority of independent agents, which basically adds to the extremely high failure rates in an industry that, in my opinion, is the easiest to make sales in. In my mind, the way I see it, when I go to a lead vendor, I'm only getting half the leads for my money. And having generated millions of leads for our remote final expense sales team, I know darn well that some of our telesales agents, and let me just say the mediocre ones, would have probably failed out of the industry had they had to depend on a lead that they would have paid double or even triple the cost for. And with that being said, some of our top producers would probably have ended up more like mediocre agents instead of top producers. I mean, think about it guys. Who doesn't want a lead that turns like a hard-working insurance agent into a super producer, right? We're generating a pretty dang high-intent lead for under $10 each, and we're even getting preset appointments for around $20 or less on average. Let me give you a breakdown, just so you can see this in black and white. As of August 2024, when this video was being filmed, for a $1,500 advertising budget, our average independent agent is getting a daily average, and let me just say, right around 15 to 20 appointments, all exclusive, and an additional 20 plus exclusive leads, again, every single day. And the thing is, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, we're seeing agents turning their $1,500 weekly ad budget into an average of $7,000 to even, with some agents, over $10,000 of AP every single week. The third reason to avoid lead vendors has to do with, well, what I like to call the zombie zone. There are specific times throughout the late evenings and early mornings where the only people who fill out the lead forms online are basically night owls. Okay, well, that's not so bad, but we're talking night owls who are not just sickly, but often are under the influence. Strong prescription drugs and or alcohol. They are zombified. So the leads generated by targeting these folks are often easier to generate by the lead vendors. However, these people not only tend to sleep during the day, so think about it, they're difficult to get on the phone, but when you do get them on the phone, they don't remember filling out some lead form last night when they were wasted out of their mind. So basically, guys, the lead gets generated cheap, but the leads generated during that time are, how do I say this in a nice way? I can't. They're garbage. The return on investment is just not there with those leads that are generated at those times. We all know this. The lead vendors know this. Everybody knows this, which is why we only run our ads during specific hours and specific days when we actually know that, we're not going to be eaten up by zombies. We don't want none of that. Which brings me back to a thought and theory that I got to address. Okay, and this is important, and it actually starts out with a question. If a lead vendor can generate a high intent lead at a decent cost per lead, why would they just sell those leads to the public? Well, now stick with me for a minute. Allow me to walk you through this the way that an agency owner, the way that my mind works, the way that I think. And here we are generating these killer leads, right? So do I want to sell them all over the country? Or would it be fiscally smarter, financially smarter for me to only allow our contracted insurance agents and our call center agents to use them, which will inadvertently bring in a lot more money to me. I mean, think about it, guys. Not only me, but the agents too, than if I were to just sell the leads to the public, after marking them up like at a, even significantly higher cost, which inadvertently would kill the ROI for the agent. So here's what happens. Statistically, your typical final expense and or life insurance agent will buy a batch of leads. They want to try them out. Of those agents who do this, not even half of those agents might buy a second batch, if they get lucky, and actually make some sales from those leads. However, a majority of those first-time buyers will not buy a second batch, and therefore the ones that do, and this is the facts, guys, the ones that do will most likely not buy, I want to say, a third batch. Most lead vendors and lead companies basically churn through agents and have very few return customers, which gives them more reason to do everything they can to squeeze the life and as much profit from that first batch of leads as humanly possible. Business is business. That's the way it works. So again, if the leads were that great and the lead vendor has half a brain, they would most likely keep their amazing leads in-house and enjoy the profit while, even sharing the wealth with their own, contracted agents or call center team. For a copy of the free new agent file that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on working with us on our free exclusive leads platform, or even on our independent side where you can get like 20 plus appointments every single day, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there and make sure that whatever happens, you do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.